I thought pregnancy would bring us closer. I thought we'd be a team, navigating the exhaustion, the cravings, the appointments, and the sleepless nights together. I thought we were on the same page. I was wrong. It started as a normal evening. She said she was going out to a girls' night at a friend's house. I trusted her, as I always had. I offered to drive her, but she insisted she could get there on her own. I made dinner, cleaned up, and settled in for a quiet night, expecting her back at a reasonable hour. She never came home that night. The next morning, she returned smiling, late, acting as if nothing had happened. I asked where she had been, gently, trying not to sound accusatory. Her answer was vague. Just some people from work. We stayed a little late. I shrugged it off initially. Maybe I was overthinking. Maybe I was just tired. But something didn't sit right with me. The night felt off. Her energy, her tone, her avoidance of details, it all screamed that she was hiding something. Later that day, I noticed something strange on her phone, a message preview left accidentally on the screen, partially visible. Can't wait to see you again. Last night was amazing. The blood drained from my face. I stared at the screen, unable to believe what I was reading. My wife, who was carrying my child, had been out at a party, not just partying, but spending the night with someone else, someone she was clearly involved with. I didn't confront her immediately. I needed to think. I needed to process. I needed to breathe without letting panic or anger control me. I spent the day quietly observing, trying to confirm what I had already guessed. By the evening, the evidence was undeniable. Texts, photos, and small inconsistencies in her story confirmed it. She had been unfaithful. While I was preparing for our child, worrying about appointments, and trying to make our home a safe space for her, she had chosen someone else. I didn't yell. I didn't throw accusations. I didn't beg. I simply waited for a private moment when the baby's ultrasound images were on the table and she wasn't expecting confrontation. I sat across from her, calm, composed, and said, "I know." Her face went pale. For a moment I saw fear, not just of me, but of the consequences she had assumed would never arrive. I can explain," she started, stumbling over words. I shook my head. "No, there's nothing to explain. I've seen the texts. I know where you were, and I know this isn't just a mistake." She tried to justify it, to spin it, to convince me it was harmless, that it meant nothing, but the evidence was clear. The betrayal was real. The disregard for me, our home, and the baby she carried was undeniable. I made a choice then, not revenge, not dramatic confrontation. I chose clarity, control, and boundaries. I needed to protect myself and our child. I refused to let manipulation or denial dictate the next steps. The next day, I contacted a lawyer. I started documenting everything quietly. I wanted the truth recognized, the betrayal recorded, and the foundations for a safe, controlled path forward established. I also began having conversations with her about expectations, respect, and accountability. Not because I wanted reconciliation, but because I had to set boundaries for the sake of my own mental health and for the child on the way. It wasn't easy. Each day brought reminders of what I had trusted her with and what she had thrown away. But the pain of betrayal is often sharpened by clarity. Once I understood the extent of her actions, once I accepted that she had chosen someone else over our family, I found a strange sense of empowerment. Months later, after careful legal and personal planning, I ensured that the necessary protections were in place for our child. Custody arrangements, financial safeguards, and clear boundaries were established, not out of vengeance, but out of necessity. She assumed that I wouldn't notice, that I wouldn't act, that I would remain in the background while she prioritized someone else. She was wrong. The night she went to that party, she believed she could escape consequences. The next day, she realized the truth. I had been paying attention. I had seen everything, and the life she assumed she could control was no longer hers to manipulate. I don't tell this story for sympathy or to vilify her. I tell it to make a point. Betrayal doesn't always come in obvious ways. Sometimes it comes quietly, in absence, in secret texts, in the disregard for trust. And when it does, the best response is clarity, strategy, and unwavering boundaries. I moved forward, quietly but decisively. I rebuilt trust in myself, ensured the safety and well-being of my child, and reclaimed control over the part of life she had tried to manipulate. Pregnancy, trust, and betrayal are a delicate balance. I learned that while love is generous, it is not a shield against deceit. And sometimes, the most important thing you can do after betrayal is protect yourself and your family, and let the truth guide your steps.